Mrs. Lee, a second grade teacher, conducting a small group reading activity with 3 students. They will be reading a leveled passage accompanied with related questions. Becky is currently reading on grade level and typically exhibits age-appropriate self-regulation skills. Stephanie is currently reading below grade level and occasionally does not exhibit grade-appropriate self-regulating skills.
Currently, Ms. Lee is working with a small group of students. Let us see how the students are doing.
All right, Stephanie and Becky, will you please turn your QRI books to page 202? So what do you all think it means to be lucky? Yes, Becky.
When something good happens to you.
And do you agree, Stephanie?
Yeah.
Okay. How could birds communicate with a person?
Well, maybe if there's a talking bird.
Okay. What do you think, Becky?
Maybe if you understood chirping, or if you're around them long enough, you could understand what they're saying.
Okay, great job. Let's keep those ideas in mind while we do our reading today. So what are some things you should do while you're reading?
We could read quietly so we don't bother others.
We could ask you if we need help, or maybe we could use the dictionary if we don't know what a word means.
Great answers. Keep those strategies in mind while we're doing our reading today. The story we'll be reading is called The Lucky Cricket.
The teacher activated background knowledge with the initial questions from the story while helping the students work on their self-regulation skills. The students are now responsible for their performance and know which actions will get them to their intended goal.
Loud, and remember not to be too loud so you don't disturb each other. Don't forget, you can always reread the story or use any of the resources provided in the classroom.
Once upon a time, there was a young girl by the name of Ling Ling. She was playing in a garden one day and found a cricket.
I remember talking about what lucky is. My grandma told me once that crickets are lucky.
Crickets are lucky, she said.
Yep, Grandma was right.
Once upon a time, there was a young girl by the name of Lung Lung.
Lung Lung, that's a weird name. I don't understand.
The cricket, she was playing in a garden one day and found a cricket. She was playing in a garden.
As Becky is reading, her brain is being stimulated by visual information, or input. The input is going into her sensory register in its original unencoded form. The sensory register has a very large capacity to hold information, but the information does not last very long. In order to retain any information, Becky must pay attention to the input to move the information to her working memory, also called short-term memory. When Becky makes the connection of her reading to her real life experience with her grandmother, she is using in-depth cognitive process, which moves the information to her long-term memory. Stephanie is also being stimulated by visual information. Some of the information is making it to her working memory. However, lack of attention while reading is causing a loss of memory. She uses self-regulating skills to identify the problem and goes back once more to read what she has forgotten.
The students have continued reading. We now meet back with Becky as she finishes her passage.
Ling was surprised and pulled her hand back. As she looked down, she saw a water snake coiled around the stone.
Coiled? What's that word mean? Well, if I look back, I see that the snake is around the stone, so I think that means it is, wrapped around it. So maybe coiled means wrapped in a circle.
If I had picked up the stone, the snake would have bitten me, she said. My lucky cricket saved me. I did save her, said the cricket. If I hadn't jumped on her, she would have picked up that stone with the snake. Maybe I'm lucky after all.
Hey Becky, if you're all done, how about you choose one of these books to read until your friend is done reading?
Wow, first one done. Stephanie's still reading.
As she looked down, she saw a water snake around the stone.
Ooh, Becky's done. I better hurry up. I'll just go to the end.
Maybe I am licky after all.
During this part of the reading, Becky is exhibiting self-regulation when she sees her context clues to figure out the word coiled. She is monitoring her process in progress and understands that her knowledge of this word will help with her comprehension of the text. Once Becky figures out what the word means, she evaluates the outcome of her efforts at the end of the reading. Stephanie has a difficult time with self-regulation. Rather than taking her time, she sees that Becky has finished and decides to skip to the end of the passage. Many self-regulating skills have been seen in this video, but here is a list of all the self-regulating strategies. Self-regulating learners establish goals for their performance and plan their actions accordingly. Control and monitor their progresses and processes during a learning task. Monitor and try to control their motivation and emotions. Seek assistance and support when they need it. Evaluate the final outcomes of their efforts. Self-impose consequences of their performances.
Because Stephanie needed to focus all of her attention on decoding words, she was unable to make connections to the story. She was also distracted by other things in her environment. When she noticed that Becky completed the story before her, she wasn't able to complete the given task and went directly to the end of the story. All of this stimuli will have an effect on her learning. Because she wasn't able to pay attention to the story, the events from the story will not make it past the sensory register into the working memory. Becky was able to make connections while she was reading. The information she was reading went to her sensory register, and because she was paying attention to the new information, it went to the working memory. Once she made connections to things her grandmother taught her and used context clues from the reading, the information was sent to her long-term memory.
Sorry, I clicked for you to have to start. You're not the dog.